pillars don't belong to them, Raziel. They belong to us.
The scenes I discovered here were unambiguous. This race of winged beings, the architects of the pillars and the creators of the Reaver, were Nosgoth's first vampires. Their features so like my own, but beautiful, where mine were grotesque, and angelic, while mine were demonic. Janos Audrin.
Long ago, and long before I first walked the earth, vampires were godlike, and our kind ruled the land. Over time, our race died out, until I alone remained. 9 guardians were called to serve the pillars, and I was summoned as the 10th guardian, the keeper of the Reaver, the weapon of our salvation.
Why would the pillars summon human guardians then, if they are meant to be served by vampires?
The pillars choose their guardians from birth, Raziel, and vampires are no longer born. This is the crux of our dilemma, and this is the terrible irony. With their vampire purge, the members of the Circle have assaulted the very architects of the pillars they are sworn to protect. They have embarked on a treacherous path. With every vampire they kill, the humans are slitting their own throats.
These scenes commemorated a great war between the ancient vampires and their rivals. In triumph, they banished their adversaries from the world and raised the pillars as the lock that binds them.
The binding must be secured, Raziel. The pillars are the lock.
And the Reaver is the key.
Yes.
In their defeat, the vampire's enemy retaliated with a terrible curse, afflicting the vampires with a bloodthirst that turned their once noble race into ravenous predators. This curse plunged the vampires into despair and apparently drove many to madness and self-annihilation. These images chronicled Vorador's creation. Apparently, he was the first human to whom the dark gift had been passed. This was the vampires' desperate bid to preserve their bloodline, for their enemies had cursed them not only with bloodthirst, but with sterility as well.
To sustain the binding, we had to preserve our bloodline. And so we passed the dark gift to the human successors of our fallen guardians. They rebelled, inevitably, refusing the curse and seizing the pillars as their own.
It was Mobius, the time streamer, and Mortanius, guardian of death, who led the bloody revolt.
While mankind governs the pillars, the binding decays. The pillars must not remain under human guardianship. They are not competent to serve. Dear God!
My God! The Hylden!
We were opposed by another race, similar to ours in power, but different in method and intention. The race that fought the vampires was the Hylden. They control the Sarafan. They are striving to wipe out the vampires, enslave the humans, and reclaim all Nosgoth as their own. They are the evil that plague us once again, authors of the demons. They have returned to enact a terrible revenge.
You understand nothing. You are a degenerate remnant of a cursed race, doomed to walk the night as a parasite. Your life as easily snuffed out as those you feed on to survive. My race is but a warped parody of our former beauty. We are, like you, fallen gods, scratching for our former power. But we will prevail. We will cleanse this world of your kind, and bring about a new, glorious age. Tortured eons of suffering are too good for you, vampire.
But not for you, Hylden, who has dared to set a corrupting foot upon this world after your banishment. Return to the demon dimension in which you belong.
And by what right, cursed one, did you send my kind to that place of evil?
By what right did you lay on us the curse that drove us from the light and made us predators of humankind?
It was justice for our banishment from the world. You see what it has made of our once fair race. Did it not occur to you that perhaps my cause, and not yours, is the cause of right, of justice?
History is written by the victors. I discovered scenes that told a familiar story, but from a very different point of view. This was the work of the enemy race, and revealed what the vampire histories had conveniently omitted. How the noble vampires, guard-ridden and righteous, had started the wars that would destroy both races, victor and vanquished alike. Their adversaries opposed the vampires' guard, and refused to submit to the wheel of fate. For this, they were banished. I should have realized what it was they worshipped. Now there was no question, for this scene depicted the ancient vampires' torment and despair as their curse cast them from the wheel of fate. So this was the god whose abandonment had driven them to madness and suicide. Finally, I understood. It was not the bloodthirst, but their immortality that was the true nature of their enemy's curse. They liberated you from the wheel of fate.
They imprisoned our souls in this flesh, expelling us from the purifying cycle of death and rebirth.
The wisest, strongest, most noble race, gulled by the voice of that old parasite. But I had seen him, and whatever he was no god.
I had been set, step by step, upon the path that led to this outcome. Hadn't this all been a Hylden plot from the beginning?
The seduction of the Circle and possession of Mortanius, Ariel's murder, the corruption and collapse of the Pillars, all orchestrated as a prelude to this moment.
Your secrets are known to me now.
Our banishment in the demon dimension also ensures our immortality. One day, we shall return.
Should your kind breach that place of banishment again, I will be waiting.
You will not live that long.
I have lived long enough to dispose of you.
Raziel. There may yet be hope. There is one who will be called. You must seek the Scion of Balance.
Go, speed your endeavor. Face him and kill him. Destroy the binding at last. We shall all be free.